Well, the burning question, did you get a Christmas gift with your team or did you get a lump of coal? And that's the big issue. Let's talk about the Chargers-Buffalo Bills game on Saturday. It drives me crazy. The Chargers can play so well against a really talented Buffalo team. And prior to that, they caused problems for the Baltimore Ravens weeks prior to that. And in between, garbage performances across the board. How could you be so good in a stretch of time against the Bills and Josh Allen or Lamar Jackson and cause all those problems with Baltimore and lose the games? I will tell you the defense hung really tough against Buffalo. There's no doubt that the interim coach, Giff Smith, did a good job cranking them up. They must have simplified the defense because there weren't very many breakdowns, and Buffalo's got a lot of people running past patterns, and they caused Josh Allen a lot of problems. And I give Easton Stick a lot of credit. He hung tough in there. That was a hard game to play. Eventually, Buffalo's amount of talent kind of overwhelmed the Chargers at the end. The Bolts are now 5-10. But how could you be so good here and there and be so bad the rest of the time?
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, didn't you expect the Chargers were going to blow it in the last minute? And sure enough, they did. But, it's just so erratic, with the coaching situation. But a lot of times when a new coach comes in, even on an interim basis, the players kind of rise up and kind of play for the new guy.
Second game, Raiders, Kansas City. Talk about rising up. That was a pretty impressive performance. A one-dimension defensive performance. 0 from the offense, and yet the Raiders beat Kansas City. 2 defensive touchdowns in a 7-second span of time. The Raider defense, pick, fumble recovery, 4 sacks, 10 hits, 7 tackles for losses. Every time I looked up, Patrick Mahomes is running for his life. They doubled Travis Kelce, and then the typical fashion for chief wide receivers this year, drop the ball, run the wrong pattern. Line up offside, motion. Kansas City right now is not what Kansas City used to be. I think Kansas City is in trouble because now when Mahomes has to break containment, there's no guarantee the guy at the other end receiving the ball is going to make a play, catch a pass, not screw it up. I think Kansas City is in trouble. And how about the Raiders? Aiden O'Connell, quarterback, Purdue University, did not complete a pass in the second, third, or fourth quarters. They had 62 yards passing,
Really?
And the Raiders still won the game. Antonio Pierce coached himself into the Raiders' job with these guys are playing with tremendous intensity and emotion on defense. They're almost incompetent on offense because of injuries more than anything else. And quarterbacking, to me, seems to be substandard. So your response, Raider Nation Chiefs?
I liked it. I like to see the Raiders rising up again. And the Chiefs, they look almost human now. They used to be so excellent on all phases of the game. But, we're talking about an interim coach, players playing up. Yeah, Antonio Pierce doing a heck of a job there.
Miami, Dallas. Jason Myers kicks 5 field goals in that game as the Dolphins overwhelm the Cowboys. Tua throws for 293. Dak Prescott a little bit slow out of the gate, wound up throwing for 253 in the loss. And now suddenly Dallas doesn't look to be the same team it was when Dallas was hitting on all cylinders. They've dropped a couple in a row. Miami looks really impressive. Miami looks really dangerous because nobody has figured out how to defend all the things that Tua's got at the line of scrimmage. So that was an impressive win, Miami. Kind of a depressing loss because it's now twice in a row the Cowboys have been banged.
Yeah, they're like a Jekyll and Hyde. On the road, at home, they're all different. I was watching the game with my son. I said, "Who are you rooting for in this game?" He goes, "I just want Dallas to lose." So there's a lot of haters that are loving seeing Dallas having this trouble again.
San Francisco, Baltimore. Big boy football, I called it last week. Big boy football it was. Baltimore, 5 interceptions. Brock Purdy freaked out. He was putting the ball in places he should never be throwing the ball. And just when you think this is an MVP candidate, he entered the game with 29 touchdown passes. He throws 4 picks. His backup threw 1 other pick. They pressured him enormously. And Lamar Jackson was dazzling. And the Ravens scored on 7 straight possessions against the 49ers defense, which has been maiming people all year. What an impressive Baltimore win. Now suddenly, are there questions about the Niners? Or is that just a one-off?
Yeah, I'm not worried about it. Purdy's been excellent up until this point. But, a lot of those interceptions were tip balls. It was just not their night.
Rams, New Orleans. Could you have ever believed the Rams would be 8-7. Hey, Hacksaw, are you the one that said they'd go 4-13?
Right.
What a coaching job by Sean McVay. Quarterback is healthy. Quarterback is upright. Kyron Williams, a young man from Notre Dame, has become a power running back. Obviously, getting the kid out of BYU, Nakoa, has made a huge difference at wide receiver. They do have Cooper Kupp. They still have Tyler Higbee. That's suddenly a really good team. Offensive line has grown together. They've had no major injuries in the offensive front this year as compared to the catastrophe each of the last 2 seasons that led to Matthew Stafford getting hurt. And the back seven defensively has really grown quickly under Sean McVay's tutelage, and now it's obviously complementary to everything that Aaron Donald does in the defensive front. This Rams team probably forges its way into the playoffs. Now, I don't know if they go beyond the first wild card game, but this is a season nobody expected to see.
Well, I think both LA teams are having unexpected seasons. The Rams are exceeding expectations, and the Chargers typically are below expectation. But yeah, good on Sean McVay. Nice to see a SoCal team in the playoffs.
What do you think about this? If Raheem Morris leaves the Rams as defensive coordinator to be a head coach, could you see Brendan Staley going back to the Rams to be a defensive coordinator again under McVay?
I think that's a possibility because those two are still really tight, aren't they? And McVay, I think, extended some, positive vibes as Staley got kicked out from the Chargers complex.
Thoughts, news, and notes around the National Football League, and obviously with 2 weeks to go in the season, you still got a ton of teams in this traffic jam for wild card spots, and then we're probably going to have some more coaching changes by the time we get to the end of the season. We go from NFL football